Great. All right, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Northern Middlesex Metropolitan Planning Organization. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. We'll go ahead and get started with our first agenda item, which I believe is just welcome and introductions. So, Paul, if you want to call the roll.
Sure. I have Monica Tibbetts-Nutt, MassDOT Secretary and CEO.
Yep, Derek Cravat here representing Monica Tibbetts-Nutt, MassDOT's Secretary and CEO.
Excellent. Jonathan Gulliver, MassDOT District 4, or MassDOT Highway Administrator, apologies. It's usually Brian, hopefully he'll join.
Right, yeah, might have to wait.
All right. Yep. Andrew Delorier, NMMPO Chair. Pat Wojcik, NMMPO Representative.
Here.
Tom Baumel, LRTA Board Chair.
Here.
Karen Pulio, LRTA Representative from a community outside Lowell.
Here.
And Dan Rourke, NMMPO Counselor and MPO Representative from the City of Lowell. All right.
Okay, great. Welcome everybody. We'll move on to our next item, which is the approval of, or I see here we also actually have introduction of NMCOG staff. I don't know, Paul, if you wanted to take any of these other ones.
Sure. I just wanted to
Yep.
introduce any NMCOG staff who are here for the group. I'm Paul Christner, Transportation Planning Program Manager. We have Jessica Belanger, Transportation Mobility Specialist, Austin Torres Davis, Transportation Planner, and Blake Acton, Regional Transit Planner on the meeting so far. I believe Jenny Raitt, our Executive Director, may join us, but I'm not sure yet if she's here. So, and I also just wanted to welcome any members of the public who might want to identify themselves and note that we have an item number 4 public comment section.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Is there anyone here that would like to make an introduction or say any remarks? All right, don't see any now, but yeah, we of course have our item for public comments, so we can take any of those then. We'll move on to the next item, which is the approval of meeting minutes from October 25th, 2023. I'll ask for a motion and second to endorse the October meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion. I wasn't here, but I'll make that motion.
Oh, great. Thanks, Pat. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion having been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions on the October minutes? All right, seeing none, go ahead and call the roll. Paul?
Derek Cravat, MassDOT OTB.
Yes.
Brian Fallon here. Yeah. All right. Andrew Delorier, NMCOG Chair. I think he may have just joined. All right. Pat Wojcik, NMCOG MPO Representative.
Oh, yes.
Tom Baumel, LRTA Board Chair. Tom, I think you're muted. You want to vote?
I'm sorry, yes.
Excellent. Karen Pulio, LRTA Representative from Community Outside Lowell.
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Move on to our next item, which is tip status. Josh, did you want to give this update for District 4?
Sure. Folks hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Here are this month's updates. We've got 612-658 Tewksbury Bridge Preservation of 495 over Route 133 and Route 38. Our system is no longer showing a tip year and cost. 612-656 Bridge Preservation of 495 over Concord and Boston Road in Westford. Same situation. 612-631 we've got Chelmsford bridge replacement of Gorham Street over 495 and Westford Street also over 495. This project has gone down a little bit in cost and is now at 100% design. 608-816, resurfacing and related work on Route 110 in Lowell, Dracut, and Methuen. The add date was pushed back by 2 months. It's now going to be May 2024. 608-861, we've got Westford bridge rehabilitation of Stony Brook Road over the Stony Brook. New tip year. 607-887. This is Lowell Rourke Bridge replacement, Wood Street extension over Boston and Maine Railroad and Merrimack River. The add date has been pushed back 2 weeks. 610-704 in Burlington and Billerica, resurfacing and related work on Route 3A. This has also had a removal of the tip year cost and a new project manager, Joseph Yu. 609-035. The total cost has increased by 4 million, and that has now reached 100% design as well. And that is it.
Great. Thanks, Josh. Any questions for Josh? All right, seeing none. Are there any updates from LRTA? I know we sometimes use this opportunity for that update as well. Okay. Don't see anyone. So with that, we'll move on to open forum public comments. Is there anyone present that would like to make a public comment at this time? All right, seeing none. If you do have a comment during the meeting, please feel free to use the raise hand function on Zoom or type something in the chat and we'll be sure to call on you. Move on to our next item, which is an action item for a tip adjustment. I'll turn it over to Paul to go over this one.
Sure, thanks, Derek. So this is an action item and it's an adjustment to the federal fiscal year 24 to 28 tip. It involves several changes to existing LRTA projects to update state matches to 2023 community transit grants. So you can see on the table, the current match funds are at 0. And the proposed match, these are the state matches for the grants, and they're for mostly buying replacement vehicles, as you can see in the table. The adjustment does require an endorsement vote of the NPO. It does not require a 21-day public comment period. So we would ask the board to vote to endorse this adjustment today. I have one slide also that just shows the electronic stip, a little bit more detail, but similar to what the adjustment is.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. Any questions for Paul before we ask for that motion?
Paul, it's Karen Pulio. Just quickly, those were already planned for replacement, and now that there's this funding source, we're just moving forward a little bit earlier, or was there another original funding source for it?
Paul, I can jump in here. So these are, we apply for community transit grants to replace the paratransit vehicles for the Roadrunner and the COAs. And so once they're awarded, then they go on the tip. So these were on last year's tip, but there was a little bit of delay in the vehicle delivery. And so I think it's just the carryover into fiscal 24.
Thanks, Ali. More of a housekeeping item.
No problem at all.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, Ali.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Don't see any. So with that, I'll ask for a motion and second to endorse these changes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Thank you. Motion having been made and seconded. Go ahead and call the roll.
Derek Cravat, Mass.OTP.
Yes.
Brian Fallon, Mass.District 4.
Yes.
Pat Wojcik, NMMPO representative.
Yes.
Tom Baumel, LRTA board chair.
Yes.
Karen Pulio, LRTA representative from Community Outside Lowell.
Yes.
And did Andrew Delorier join?
Yeah.
NMCOG chair. He did. All right, Andrew Delorier, NMCOG chair.
Yes.
Excellent. Motion passes.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Move on to our next item, which is the LRTA's transit asset management targets for fiscal year 2024. Is this you, Ali?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So again, for our annual TAM targets, we report in 3 different categories: our rolling stock revenue vehicles, which includes our 30-foot and 35-foot buses, which have useful lives of 10 years and 12 years, respectively. Our cutaway buses, which are largely for the paratransit, Roadrunner, and COAs. And then we do have one minivan that is at Drake at COA. For buses, we have a robust replacement schedule for the buses. We're replacing our oldest fixed route bus in the spring. And so we're confident that we'll meet our 2024 target of 0 buses past their useful life in age. For the cutaways, you'll see this is a higher target of 53.06%. And that's really due to the paratransit vehicles. So the TAM targets are required to be set based on age. For the paratransit vehicles, a lot of times, given the age, the mileage isn't really as high as on a fixed route bus. And so the vehicles tend to be still in good shape considering the age. And also, just on the last tip adjustment, there have been vehicle delivery delays post-COVID that we're dealing with that has influenced that number as well. And then the minivan being 100% is just a small sample size. We only have one, and it is past its useful life in age. But again, the mileage isn't really that high, and it's still in good shape. For equipment, this covers our non-revenue service vehicles. For the automobiles, again, we have a small sample size, just 2 in our fleet, and one of those is past its useful life in age. And then our trucks and other rubber tire vehicles include things that, our plows, our security trucks, and maintenance vehicles. And again, for both of these categories, we do prioritize replacing our revenue vehicles. And again, these tend, especially with the service trucks, these stay on our property. So although the target is required to be set based on age, the mileage again is a little bit lower, and so the wear and tear isn't quite as high as you'd anticipate given the age. For facilities, we use the term scale. That's a 1 through 5 rating, 1 being poor and 5 being excellent. We have, and again, a robust maintenance program for all our facilities and all the equipment therein. And we program every year 5307 and state RTA cap funds to address terminal and equipment maintenance. And we anticipate that we'll be able to keep our facilities overall in a state of good repair for fiscal year 24. I'm happy to answer any questions, and these do go for a vote.
Great. Thank you, Allie. Any questions for Allie on the TAM targets? Great. I don't see any questions. So thanks for the overview, Allie. With that, I'll ask for a motion and second to endorse the 2024 transit asset management targets as presented by Allie.
I'll make that motion, Tom Bommel.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Made by Tom and seconded by Andrew. Go ahead and call the roll, Paul.
Derek Ravat, Mass.OTV.
Yes.
Brian Fallon, Mass. District 4.
Yes.
Andrew Delorier, NIMCOG Chair.
Yes.
Pat Wojcik, NIMCOG MPO Representative.
Yes.
Tom Baumel, LRTA Board Chair.
Yes.
Karen Pulio, LRTA Representative from a community outside Lowell.
Yes.
So motion passes.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. We'll move on to our next item, which is the federal certification review. I see we have some of our federal partners on, Brandon from FTA and Joshua from FHWA. Are you two handling this item?
Hey, Derek. We are, or Chair
Great.
Chair
Sounds good.
Cravat.
Oh, yes. Thanks, Joshua. Take it away.
Definitely. Now I've learned my lesson on those back in my NPO days, you know.
Oh yes, yeah. They maybe more serious than Florida about
Yeah,
titles. Yeah,
yeah.
that's fine.
Well, hey everybody. Hi NPO board. This is Joshua Barber with Federal Highway Massachusetts Division Office, and I'm joined by Brandon Burns at the Federal Transit Administration Region 1. So we asked for some time on the agenda for your NPO board agenda to let you all know that we've officially kicked off the Northern Middlesex NPO Federal Certification Review as of a few weeks ago. So we're really here to let you know that the review is currently underway. I'm sure many of you have been through a certification or two in the past. For some people, this might be a new process. So we really just wanted to highlight the requirements and talk about the process a little bit and where we're kind of currently at. So as a bit of background, the U.S. Department of Transportation, that is Federal Highway and Federal Transit, are required to review and certify the transportation planning process of NPOs in urbanized areas with a population over 200,000 people at least once every 4 years. So Northern Middlesex NPO, which is in the Boston TMA, was last certified in June of 2020. And really the purpose of these reviews are, evaluating your all's planning process and compliance with federal regulations and United States code. We really want to kind of provide an open forum for the exchange of information and ideas that kind of help you all, continue to do your jobs, to identify effective practices, opportunities for improvement. And we really want to stress that these certification reviews are not just a review of the NPO and its staff and its processes, but rather a review of the planning process conducted by all of the planning partners charged with cooperatively carrying out this process on a daily basis. So that's, NIMCOG, MassDOT, the local elected officials, LRTA, even, your coordination with other NPOs within the region, Boston, Nashua, etc. So a few highlights of kind of the general process. We've sent our notification letter a few weeks ago. We've been coordinating with Paul on our desk review, and we've requested materials. So we'll kind of gather information, do a little documentation review. We might send some advanced questions, just kind of really try to understand what work the NPO has been doing. We'll have an on-site visit as well, to kind of just go through everything. There's a public engagement process as well. It's an important part of the certification review. And we'll issue a final report ultimately, that documents our observations and findings. And that is like kind of the certification. And with that, I'll hand it over to Brandon to kind of talk a bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. I'm just gonna go over where we currently are at with this process and what to expect over the next several months. So currently, as Josh mentioned, we're going to start beginning the process to gather information. This will get us up to speed on some information, the processes, the organizational structure, and some other documents that will be prepared. And we'll use this to review the NPO and how they carry out the transportation planning process. So during this time, we may ask some advanced questions, as Josh alluded to the NPO. So this might come over the next several weeks before the site visit. So currently the site visit is planned for February 8th. That's a Thursday. So we do encourage that NPO members attend if it works out. And some topics might include financial planning on the tip, and then MTP, organizational structure of the NPO, public outreach, Title VI, and non-discrimination, freight planning, and We also might look in environmental mitigation and resiliency. So this is a tentative topics. As we go through the desk review, we'll kind of nail down a final agenda and forward that to everybody as the site visit gets closer. So as part of the certification review process, FHWA and FTA plan to have opportunities for the public to get involved and provide feedback. So we would like to hear from members of the public, stakeholders concerning their views of the transportation planning process. And we are planning to hold a public meeting at during the a public involvement session at the January MPO meeting. So with that, just wondering if anyone has any questions or anything we can address during this time. This is a continuing process, so we'll definitely be communicative throughout it. So if there's anything you'd like to know at this time, please let us know.
Great. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Joshua. Any questions on the process? Right. I don't see any questions. So you said February 8th, right, is the actual review? Okay. And it's usually a full day long sort of in person, right, review?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so it's usually an all-day thing. Some of the bigger MPOs are 2 days. I think when Federal Highway went to the Boston to CTPS, it was a 2-day process, but should be able to do it in a day, and then we'll have a final report issued by the certification date, which is in June 2024. And then we'll be back to the board either in June or July to kind of go over our findings.
Great. Awesome. Great. Well, thank you both. Yeah, we'll look forward to that review, and yeah, happy to connect in the meantime. And I know that we'll usually have staff present for that as well. So happy to coordinate Paul on logistics and things like that leading up. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you. Move on to our next item, which is an update on the 2023 Northern Middlesex MPO Title VI report. Is this you, Paul, and
Yes.
staff? Yep. Okay, great.
Thank you, Derek. So I wanted to give the MPO board an update on where we are with the 2023 MPO Title VI report. We submitted the 2022 report earlier this year, and we received comments from the MassDOT Office of Diversity and Civil Rights, or ODCR, recently. And in lieu of submitting a new report this year, they're asking us to update the 2022 report. And so they've given us several things that we need to address and submit a new report by the end of this calendar year, which we're working on. I'm going to turn it over to Blake Acton in a moment to go through some of those individual items for the report, but I did want to give a little bit of background on what the Title VI report is. Also, you'll see at the bottom of the slide is the link to the current report, which is on our website, which is the one that we'll be updating. And so in terms of what the report is, it's a document that provides information and analysis of transportation policies and services necessary to measure the MPO's compliance with Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Title VI provides that no person in the United States shall, on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. The objective of the Title VI analysis in the document is to ensure that the level and quality of transportation service are provided in a non-discriminatory manner, to promote full and fair participation in transportation decision-making without regard to race, color, or national origin, and to ensure meaningful access to transportation programs and activities by persons with limited English proficiency. So that's some background on what the report is, and I'm going to turn it over to Blake now just to go over the things that we need to update for the end of this calendar year, and we'll submit back to MassDOT ODCR.
Great, thanks, Paul. Good afternoon. I'm Blake Acton, Regional Transit Planner at NMMPO, and today I'll be discussing some of our plans and progress regarding the Title VI required action items that we received from ODCR So the chart shown here shows the 9 required action items, which are due at the end of next month, December 31st. And I'm going to talk through each one briefly and just discuss what the issue is and what we plan on doing to address the issue. So to start off, let's begin with the first 4 items in the chart. These items focus on the accessibility and ease of finding Title VI information on our website. So we've already made some progress on addressing these concerns through some updates we recently made to our website to make the Title VI information and the report and notice and all of the various forms that are included with that. Those are easier to find now. We plan on making a few further improvements to our website, such as creating a dedicated Title VI page. And we'd also like to add a link to the bottom of our homepage that takes you directly to the Title VI page, just to make it as easy as possible to find that information. So next, let's discuss the remaining 5 items. These are numbers 5 through 9 on the chart. So for item number 5, this involves adding some clarifying language in the report, where we just need to be very clear that NMCOG does not, or the Northern Middlesex NPO does not have any sub-recipients. For item number 6, we plan on updating the organizational chart in the report that clearly shows the relationship between the Title VI coordinator, which is Paul Christner, and our executive director. And then for item number 7, we are going to address this item by adding meeting minutes that show board approval of the most recent annual Title VI report to the appendix, something that we already have. And then for action item number 8, this is a request that we update and expand how we ensure that we are complying with Title VI. So we're planning on expanding the compliance section of our report to better highlight our current practices in our plans that we make with the TIP, the PWP, and the Regional Transportation Plan. And we'd also like to discuss our goals for improving our compliance in these plans in the report as well. And then finally, the last action item asks how we as an organization consider the needs of minority populations in our planning process. So to address this, we plan on discussing and incorporating the results of equity analyses that we've done in Envision 2050, the Regional Transportation Plan. And we'd also like to expand on it to discuss more about the results of that analysis, more specifically about the difference or the allocation of TIP funds between minority and non-minority neighborhoods, and also discussing a little bit more about how that allocation of funds differs between the past projects, past TIP funds, and present TIP funds. So we have this data, and it's briefly touched upon in Envision 2050, but we could probably expand the discussion a little bit, which we'll do in the Title VI report. And then looking ahead, we intend to explore how we can improve our equity analysis methodology. This process has sort of highlighted that this is an area that I think we can improve upon. So one possibility that we'd like to consider is to see how we could leverage the travel pattern data from the Replica platform, which was recently made available to all of the NPOs in the state by MassDOT. With the Replica data, we could better estimate the demographics of folks who would more directly benefit from transportation improvements by not only looking at the demographics of neighborhoods around projects, but also the demographics of people who drive, walk, bike, take transit, or just travel through the project area. So for example, we could, let's say we were to analyze the equity impacts of replacing a bridge. We could use Replica to estimate the demographics of the travelers who regularly use that bridge in our analysis, instead of just evaluating the demographics of the neighborhoods around that bridge, nearby that bridge. So this is sort of an evolving thing that we would like to aspirationally talk a little bit about in our Title VI report, but also this is something that Paul and I definitely would like to work on and discuss how we can improve our equity analysis methodology. And then we can incorporate some of the results of that into our other reports as well. So that's all I have today, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Blake, and thanks, Paul. It's helpful to see this laid out in this format, and yeah, seems like some great ideas, especially use of replicate data. I think that's really interesting. So happy to help coordinate that with anyone at MassDOT as well. But any questions for Blake or Paul on the Title VI responses?
Just a quick comment. This is
Oh,
like
go ahead,
long
Andrew. Yep.
overdue. Oh, yep, sorry about that. This is long overdue, and I think really pertinent for our region, given the changes that we're seeing, and this feeds into all the different stratagems that are going into beyond transportation, but for housing and such like that. So this is going to be, this data will be leveraged in several places. So I appreciate the investment.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Any other questions or comments? All right, I don't see any. So thanks again, Blake and Paul. We'll move on to our next item, which is other business. Paul, do you want to kind of talk through the next meeting date and sort of change in location?
Sure, yeah. So I have a couple proposed meeting dates out there, and we can continue this offline as well through email, but I want to just put out a few potential meeting dates. Given our move, so our current meeting is scheduled for the week between the Christmas and New Year's holiday, and my assumption is that would be a tough time to get a quorum. So I put out a meeting date of December 20th, which would be the week before, January 3rd, which would be the week after, which I think MVPC is considering that as a date, Derek. And then if we don't have any pressing issues, the other option is to just go with our regularly scheduled fourth Wednesday in January meeting, fourth Wednesday in January. So I don't know if folks have preferences or if I should follow up with an email, but that's what we're considering right now. I will say the December 20th might be a little bit tough for NMCOG staff given our move that's happening in the next couple days.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, like you said, I think Merrimack Valley is pretty set for January 3rd, is my understanding. Not sure if it came up. Yeah, Schuster, if it came up today.
It did come up. So they're actually, like you, it's unclear if they're going to have any business for a December meeting. So Patrick Reed is sending out a survey to MPO board members on availability in case they need to set up an alternative date or just want to do one January meeting at an earlier time. I was going to recommend, Paul, if you want to do something similar for board members, that might be appropriate. Get between your move, and at the moment it doesn't appear that we'll have any time sensitive tip action items short of maybe LRTA amendment.
Okay, yeah, I can follow up with sort of a poll or an email to check on availability for board members. That's the best path on that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Paul.
So yeah, the second, just I hope everyone is aware of this by now, but we are moving this week. So my screen is blurred, but there are many boxes around me. Everything's packed up here. So we have our new address there as well, and for at least we'll still be on email, but we may be a little slower for a day or two as we get all this sorted out. But there's our new address right there. For any, we'll be updating all of our documentation, website, that sort of stuff. I know folks don't do snail mail a whole lot anymore, but it does need to go on a lot of the documents that we produce. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or questions on that. Other than that, I was going to move on and just,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to see if there are any questions. All right.
Well,
don't see any. Yep.
We'll be excited to host anyone in our new office soon. Once we're all there, should be a nice space. And then just sort of a teaser for some future MPO agenda items that we're going to look at in the new year, updating the public participation plan, the tip review study for tip before and after, and congestion management report. A couple things to think about for our upcoming meetings. That's all I have for that.
Great, thanks, Paul. Any other business from anyone else? All right, I don't see any, so we'll be in touch on the next meeting date. And with that, I'll ask for a motion and second to adjourn.
Also moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you, everyone. I think without objection, we're adjourned. So have a great holiday if we don't see you, and yeah, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. And good luck with the move, Paul and NMCOG staff. Looking forward to seeing the new space. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you a lot, Derek.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.